Fellow Ambazonians, good afternoon, and welcome again to another edition of the War Zone. Today is uh, Thursday, June the 2nd, 2022, and I'm very delighted to have you again with me on the set. I must first of all start by apologizing for the late start. You should have started about an hour ago, and we ran into some technical difficulties, resulting in the fact that we are starting about an hour late. So I would like for us not to waste any much time. Again, since we are already starting late, I would just like for you to do me a favor and share the link of the show so that we can populate the site, the show, and so I can bring to you this very special edition of the War Zone, which for some reason we had a conflicting schedule last week and we could not bring you the show. You must have noticed it, but hopefully we'll make up for today and going forward make sure that we maintain a regular schedule so that you don't miss any more episodes of the War Zone. So again, I'm delighted to have you on the set with me today. Please do me a favor and share the link so that we can populate the show and I have some very interesting topics for today. We'll be talking about, uh, of course, we cannot miss talking about the so-called rescue of Madame Mundi. And we will also talk about the once Secretary of State of the Restoration Council, who, for some reason, experienced a metamorphosis and changed from what she normally was into something else. We will find out exactly what happened with Lobati, Madam Winnie Lobati. Lobati versus Winnie Lobati. We are going to examine some statements she made earlier in the struggle, especially at the start of the Sarkozy presidency. And we will look at the statement she is making now and find out what exactly happened, what went wrong with Lobati to put her in the situation she is in right now. We have also heard that uh, Mr. Sako, or should I call him John Dinga, that his group is organizing another draft, yet another draft, fellow Ambazonians, yet another draft, $2 million plus raised so far with nothing to show, but yet they're asking you to come and give them more money. We are going to examine that and find out if exactly any Ambazonian should be giving them their money. And of course, we have other things to talk about, including the rescue of some detainees in the jail of Shao Mao in Gocku that were rescued by none other than FM No Pity. So we will look at these stories and other events happening in the struggle for the liberation of the southern Cameroons and Amazonia. But first, as I said, please do me a favor and share the link. Share the link so that we can populate this show today and bring you these very interesting topics. And of course, I have a very powerful panel coming on board to discuss these topics with me. And of course, I have Honorable Reverend Jenny will be here with me. Honorable Anne will be here with me, and Honorable Sama Thomas. They will be here to break down these stories so that all you have to do is digest. So please, don't go away. Call everyone, your mother, your father, your friends, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your own children. Call them, let them tell them the war zone is on. They should be watching and having taking part in these discussions because we're trying to make this show as educative as possible so that we understand exactly the intricacies of this struggle so that you are not misled or bamboozled, if I should say. So we want you to follow this struggle with your eyes, wide open instead of wide shut. So please do me a favor. Let's just go ahead. Let me see what the numbers are like. And share the link. Share the link out there. Share it as far and wide as possible. Bring as many people in, and make sure that our people are watching. Make sure everyone is watching. Let's make sure everyone is watching. We can't leave anyone out. We have to bring everybody in so they take part in this interesting show today. Again, I'm doing my part in sharing. I hope you're doing the same too. Let's do the sharing, please, so we can start the show. I won't waste much time since we're already starting late, but I want to make sure that everyone that is supposed to see this link has seen it. That is what we should be doing right now. Let's just take a moment, do the sharing, so we can start the show and bring you this very interesting discussion today. Um, I'm doing my part in sharing. Please do your part. Do your part. Do the sharing as much as possible, and bring on board all who are supposed to be watching this show right now. Um, yes, I see. Yep, we're sharing. I can see the link going around. Let me see who else needs to see this. Who else needs to see this? All right. Okay. I think it's gone around now. And in other news, there is a situation that happened. I think it was last night in Jikwa, that is in G, in Jikwa, where La République du Cameroon went and ambushed, or it's not an ambush, or just attacked uh, two, was it three civilians, and then one of them is actually dead right now. They shot one dead, and they arrested two and took with them. And that is in Jikwa. In Jikwa, a lot of people to Cameroon went to Jikwa. They arrested two and shot one person dead. And again in Jikwa, then from there they moved to the market square in Jikwa, where they again went into a bar where people were drinking. They pulled out one more person from the bar and they shot him dead. Remember, these are civilians. We are not talking about fighters here. These are civilians who are simply, when they look at you and you look like someone who could maybe be a fighter, that has the potential of being a fighter, they look at you and they say, if we don't kill this one, then tomorrow he may decide to be a fighter. So they just decide to kill you first, even before you make up your mind to be a fighter. This is what is going on. And we have been saying this time and time again to our people. When you see La République du Cameroon, they are not your friends. You may think you are not a fighter and that they will leave you alone. Keep your distance from these people. When they see an ambassador, especially a young man between 10 and maybe 25 or 30, they see an enemy. And all they want to do is to kill you. So this is what happened in Jikwa. And this goes especially to those of our boys who have previously been fighters, those who have been previously fighters and decided to maybe drop their weapons, and they think that, okay, now that I've dropped my weapons, I can go around and do my business. No, no, you can't. Once you are a fighter, you will always be a fighter. Once a fighter, always a fighter. When La Republic sees you, they are going to kill you. So it is better you have your arm with you, have your weapon with you to defend yourself. Once you drop your weapon and you think that they will see you and not attack you, you are making a huge mistake. They will still kill you. So I want this message to really go to our boys on the ground to be very clear that these people will not leave you just because you have stopped fighting. Enablers will point you out and say, look, he used to be a fighter. They will kill you, and they have been killing. It's not that we're talking about something that is yet to happen. It is happening as we speak. It is happening as we speak. So if you have been a fighter and you lay down your guard and you think, okay, now that I lay down my gun, I can go around and do things, you're making a huge mistake. So people should be very careful, and I want this to be understood as clearly as possible that these people will not leave you just because you stop fighting. It will not happen. So um, before I bring on my guest, I'd just like to talk about these few things. I believe that we have seen the video of Field Marshal No Pity in Gokutunja, where he went and rescued some civilians who were imprisoned by this guy who's called Xiao Mao. Xiao Mao. I think he's under the control of one, I think Frank Cheney of Ndop, of Gokutunja, and Amos, and I think Martin Mungo is another person that they are the ones controlling Xiao Mao, and he is going around terrorizing our civilians, arresting them, locking them up, taking ransoms from them. But Field Marshal No Pity got wind of this and decided to bring order to Ngokutunja once more. So they went in there. I don't know if Otegisha has weapons. I mean, the video. They went in there and arrested Xiao Mao. They arrested Xiao Mao and freed these civilians who were being held captive by Xiao Mao, and they were being asked to pay huge sums of money. Now, I want this message to be very clear to those who are engaging in this behavior, especially in Goktunja. No Pity has promised that henceforth this will no longer happen to the people of Gokutunja. No Pity is determined to bring order. There is well, No Pity has always been the sheriff around Gokutunja, but the sheriff of Gokutunja is back. No Pity is back, and he is determined to bring sanity and discipline and order in Gokutunja, making sure that our civilians are not the target. Our civilians should not be the target. So we applaud No Pity for this patriotic act, this selfless act. By this is exactly why some civilians sometimes are compelled to turn against our fighters, because when you go around molesting your own people and they see the enemy, and they betray your hideout and so on, then they come and kill you, and you doubt why your security now is jeopardized because of things like this. So it is time to bring sanity, and I think this should be replicated in Mezam County. We have had a lot of similar incidents in Mezam County, mostly perpetrated by these dogs who call themselves ADF fighters. They don't fight anywhere. They don't take the fight to La Republic of Cameroon. And they go around terrorizing our people, arresting people, locking them up, and taking huge sums of money from them. This must end. And our military command in Mezam has to rise up and take the necessary steps to bring the same order in Mezam. These ADF thugs that go around harassing our people. As recently, I think yesterday, we heard of other kidnappings and ransom taking going on in Mezam. That is what the ADF is good at. You don't hear them taking the fight to the enemy anywhere. All they do is target our own citizens. They don't even arrest La Republic citizens and their colonial administrators who go around freely. The ADF will allow them to go around doing their business, but they target our own very people. And then they turn around and say, oh, we're fighting alongside with you to bring about the restoration of the independence of the Southern Cameroon. Lies. That's not what they're doing. That's not what they are doing. And it is time for them to stop. It is time for them to stop. So we also We also have seen the uproar from the Bitcoiners crying about the big tools that were recently bought by the administration of President Marianta and provided to some of our generals and field marshals. And they have been up shouting and screaming. At first, they said, "Oh, we were the ones that bought it. It wasn't you. We were." I don't know how these people so lie so shamelessly. Those who have received those tools have come out openly and said, "Yes, we have these tools, and these tools were provided to us by the government of President Marianta. They bought these things for us." And then someone else will come out and say, "No, don't hear what they are saying. We are actually the ones that, if you are the ones that bought it, why would the person who received it lie that it was someone else who gave it to them? Why? There's no reason for that." And then when they tried that and it didn't work, that was not holding water. Another one came out with a crazy audio and said, "Oh, no, you see that weapon like that? It came from Bafoot. Came from Bafoot? Who told you that? Have you ever seen such a weapon in Bafoot? Has Bafoot ever carried out an attack anywhere with something like that? So how did it come to you that it came from Bafoot?" So they're just trying to not to accept the fact that someone who just took over about 3 months ago is already putting resources in the hands of our fighters. And someone who has been there for 4 years, more than $2 million you handed over to him, and he's not able to boast that he has ever put one of such weapons in the hands of any of our generals. Not one. And so that's why they're so confused and wondering, how can she do it? We have been here 4 years and will not be able to do it. How can she just do it in 3 months? And they can't just fathom it. But because, first of all, their intentions are not good. When your intentions are not good, when you are not there for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons, that's what happens. You have misplaced priorities. Your goal is to make money for yourself and your friends. So you really don't care. You remember AFCON, Chan, Mountain Race, everything in Boya, the dissolution of FACO executive, just when AFCON was about to start and nothing was done after that. Remember all that? That is the willful incompetence that Sako, or aka John Dinga, did he displayed that kind of willful incompetence, and of course we realized that the results were just abysmal. So they should let those who can do things do them. If you can't do something, let those who can do it do it. Stop complaining. You've tried it and you couldn't. Step aside and stop blocking the way for those who have the will and the capability of making action happen on the ground. So I would like to, at this point, to bring my panel on board so that we can go ahead and delve into the other aspects of this show today. I think we have, yeah, the numbers are climbing, they're climbing. So please continue sharing. We're about to bring, I'm about to bring my panel on board. Uh, Honorable Reverend Jenny, are you there? Come on board, please. Honorable Reverend Jenny, are you there? I think you were trying to sign on. I hope you were able to make it. Reverend Jenny, if it's not there, Honorable Sama Thomas, did you sign on? Honorable Sama Thomas, I, I think you were logged in a few minutes ago. I don't know what happened. What about Honorable And? What happened to them? They were logged in just a few moments ago. I hope they're not having technical issues. Uh, okay. All right. Honorable Anne is not here yet. All right, let me go about. Yeah, this is Field Marshal No Pity again. Field Marshal No Pity talking to the population on Gokutunda after bringing order and rescuing the
Even
hostages
we dey fight
or
for
prisoners
una.
that were kept in custody by Shao Mao. So No Pity is talking to the civilians and enlightening them on how they should conduct themselves and educating them on the rationale
Protege,
of them being out there fighting for their liberation, for the liberation of the people of the Southern Commons. I can see Honorable Samuel Thomas is on. Welcome, Honorable Samuel Thomas.
Uh, Good Comrade Fusi. It's a pleasure being with you in this program to talk to our people on the events that are unfolding on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on board. I know sometimes these technical issues are a problem. I don't know, is Honorable Engineer there too? Honorable Engineer, are you there? While waiting for Honorable Engineer, let me see. Um, okay, Honorable Engineer is not there yet. Okay, I'll just go on with uh, Honorable Sama Thomas while waiting for the others to join. If they can, then so be it. Honorable Sama Thomas, we have seen um, the uproar from Sako and his gang about the tools that were recently procured uh, by the administration of President Marianta. And they're complaining and whining and saying giving all kinds of excuses just to make it seem as if the tools were not procured by this government. What do you have to say about that?
It is a shameless guy that will be claiming something that does not belong to him. For I do not see how uh, materials can be supplied to our boys on the ground, no matter how much hate I have for somebody, I cannot receive something. Either
Mhm.
I refuse what he offers, or if I accept it, I should be able to appreciate that it's coming from him. No one will take something from A and say it's coming from B. So, how shameless is Sako and his gang to say that the materials that are given on the ground to our fighters are coming from them, and our fighters are saying that they are coming from President Marianta, offered by the people of
It
Southern
is.
Camaros. For the past how many years? 4 years today that we've been drafting. How many times have Sako provided materials to our boys on the ground? Is it only now that Sako has seen it important to supply materials to our boys on the ground, and our boys are now refusing that he's not the one who supplied the materials? Only a stupid man would do such a thing. Want to claim what he never did. So Sako and his people should sit up. They still have a lot of money that they've embezzled for the past 4 years. Let Sako use part of that money, acquire materials with, or purchase materials with, and offer to our boys on the ground. They will appreciate it and say he's the one who gave them those materials. But they cannot take from him and refuse that they've taken something from him. Nobody on earth will do that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you. And I was wondering myself, but that how patriotic it is that you will want to claim something that was certainly bought by someone else because we don't know even once of a situation a situation where Sako ever supplied one of such tools to any of our fighting forces on the ground. Not once. How is it that just now that someone else has taken over and has done it, all of a sudden you come out and say, "Oh, you are the one that did it"? So you were waiting for someone else to take over for you to show your own skills of doing it. It is just laughable. But I just wanted us to gloss over it before continue with the program. Well, of
Uh,
course, the main thing that I want us
let me say something. Let me
yeah,
say
go ahead.
something before we continue. We of the Metamorphosis force of Mancon, we purchase big rubber gun
Mhm.
with the little that we have, little less than $10,000, but we purchased big rubber guns and brought them to ground zero. But Sako was there with more than $2 million for 2020, but couldn't purchase one.
Yep, yep,
It is now 2021 or 2022 that Sako is unable to draft that he thinks he will buy a big Roman. What has suddenly happened that Sako thinks that he can now buy a big Roman gun? Does it mean Sako had been deceiving Southern Cameroonians for the past 4 years that he does not know where to buy big Roman guns, and all of a
uh-huh.
sudden he now knows where to buy them? If that is the case, where did all the monies, which is over $4 million, if I'm not mistaken, went to? If Sako couldn't use that money to buy even a single AK to put on the ground,
Yes, yes.
are we wrong to say he budgeted that money? I don't think
Oh,
so. Are Southern Cameroonians wrong to say Sako embezzled MTTB? I don't think so. For there is nothing that Sako can show which is substantial on the ground to say I use MTTB money for, or first draft money for, or all the customs that he had been raising money for, which not even a was littered elsewhere. It's a shame. That's that a typical example of a failed leader. And I
yeah, of
said
course,
this
of course,
several.
of course. Yes, of course. We know he has failed, and that is why he's no longer president. Of course, we know he has failed. So let us. I would like to acknowledge. I would like to for us to have the acknowledgement. We had this award that was given to the Bali Buffaloes for the spectacular job that he did in the month of April. And we have another show coming up next week to announce the winner for the most productive performance for the month of May. But I would like to see if I can get the audio that was sent to us by 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 the Bali Buffaloes, acknowledging the receipt of the money that was sent to them by the countries and regions. Say countries and regions because when we say coordinators, it seems the money is coming from the coordinators only. No, it's the countries and regions that contribute this money and give to the coordinators to then send to the boys on the ground to acknowledge the good work that they are doing. So the Bali Buffaloes sent us an audio, which I would like to play here, so that when we talk to ambassadors that we in this government we want to be as transparent as possible, we mean what we're saying. So when we say we are sending money down to our boys, we are sending it down. And we want to get the confirmation and prove to you that we mean exactly what we're saying. So that when we are asking you to help us, give us something so we can send to these boys, you can rest assured that every dime that comes in, we don't just send it, but we actually add it. We add to it before sending it to our boys on the ground. So let me just play the audio that came from the Bali Buffalo so we can hear before we continue with the rest of the program.
Fellow Ambazonian people them, fellow Bali people them, whether you did for both side, for one man country, any place for the war or for the front line, with the tank or the salon the one talk say on behalf of the Bali Buffaloes and under the instruction of the Field Marshal Grandpa, we thank the county coordinators for the award of 1 million with the given for the Buffaloes as the most productive force during the month of April. I, the Bali Restoration Force spokesman, the talk on behalf of the Buffalo say we don't receive them. They will our use of judiciously for foster the war and for shorten our journey to Boya. Once again, I want to thank the county coordinators and I want to thank any other donor where if you give send the hand for pocket or move something, give them made our can reach we. They promise to say we intend or do better if and only if this kind of support in the middle we. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Hoping the war finish in the nearest time possible. Thank you very much, fellow Amazonians.
Okay, fellow Ambazonians, uh, you have heard for yourselves the acknowledgement. Okay, fellow Ambazonians, you have heard for yourself the acknowledgement coming from the Bali Buffaloes of the 1 million award prize that was sent to them. So I'm calling on those of you, especially those of you in the diaspora, that if you want to support this program, you can meet your country or regional coordinator. In Europe, you meet your country coordinator. In the USA, you meet your regional coordinator and donate, support this program so that we can continue to encourage our boys to continue taking the fight to the enemy for the liberation of our homeland. We cannot allow them to go out there fighting with their nails and not having any tools, not having any encouragement. We're trying to incentivize them, let them know that we appreciate what they are doing. So please meet your country or regional coordinator, chip in your own support so that we can continue to encourage our boys to continue doing this great job. I just wanted to get that out of the way, Honorable Sama, and we can continue with the rest of the program. And the next topic of discussion will be uh, Lobati versus Lobati. I know that Honorable Samantha Mas, you went into the Restoration Council probably when Winnie Lobati was already out. I really wanted Honorable and Ginny to be here, but I think they're having some issues, so they can throw some light into this to this discussion. We know that Lobati experienced what I would call the metamorphosis of Lobati, where someone who previously was very articulate, straightforward, was a straight shooter, told it as she saw it, at some point started speaking in tongues. We don't know what happened. And we're going to examine that today. So I would like for us, before we even go into the discussion, I would like for us to play the video of the inauguration, or was it post inauguration, where uh, Winnie Lobati was explaining that the term that was given to Sako was a 2-year term, that he had a 2-year term. That was just after the Sako was inaugurated. She was speaking the truth then, and understandably, because there was no conflict in the government, she spoke the truth. But later on, we are also going to hear how she started speaking when something had happened. I don't want to say it now, but if the television could play us that video of the swearing in of Sako and Lobati's statement thereafter on, I think it was ABC at the time, with Secretary Chris, confirming that Sako had a 2-year term. Can we see that video?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, fellow Amazonians, for your patience throughout this process. Um, the Restoration Council meeting in an extraordinary meeting on November 16, 2019 had reviewed the nominee that was submitted by the cabinet, as stated in that announcement, had a two-phase of um, a two section in that voting of the president, from being an acting to president elect of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. The second part, it was voted that he will be having a 2-year tenure, having a 2-year tenure, having a 2-year tenure. And upon that note, I will also add this statement that the expanded Restoration Council will, within its legislative mandate, define modalities for an election prior to the lapse of that 2-year tenure. So that while we rejoice we have a new president, there was a 2-year tenure attached to that change of office from acting to president. Thank you.
Okay, so if I understand you, it's a 2 years term.
It's a 2-year term. Thank you.
And what
Yes.
happened after that?
The expanded Restoration Council, which will be more elaborate at the time, will, working along with the government and all the other institutions that are relevant, they will now in place put an election process of how a president will be elected into office or re-elected. The reason being that our constitution, as is currently, was silent on the issue of an election, because we were not anticipating that we will be getting to a place of doing elections. We were hoping we could zoom to Boya faster.
Okay. We have heard for ourselves that there was a 2-year term uh, mandate attached to the upgrading of Sako from interim president to president. It is very clear. I really want those who have been arguing and say, oh, there was no 2-year term. There was no 2-year term. This is Winnie Lobati. At the time, she was a straight shooter. She was a truth teller. She told it as it was supposed to be told. And Honorable Sama Thomas, I don't know, what can someone on the Sako side say now? What are they going to say if in defense, acting the devil's advocate here? What would they say in defense now?
Well, Comrade Fusi, I don't know what the people of Sako will say in defense, but the only thing they will say in defense is that they will say the Restoration Council was to act in collaboration with NET to come up with electoral modalities. For them, that didn't take place, but let me not go there. We'll come to that later on. Let me say something to Southern Cameroonians. The Southern Cameroonians be one and of the most successful leaders that have succeeded in ruling their people, at least 80 to 85% of them are not doctors. For doctors are thieves. They are people that can falsify a lot of things to deceive you people. But a commoner who is not a doctor that can manipulate his words will stick to what is common, how to rule his people. This Dr. Lobati, who was telling Southern Cameroonians 2 years ago that Sarko's tenure is 2 years. Secretary Chris asked him, made a follow-up and asked him and asked her, "Are you saying 2 years?" She said, "Yes, 2 years."
Yes.
Of which, during the lapse of that 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
there will be a modality, a constitutional or electoral modality that will be drawn up by the Restoration Council, an enlarged Restoration Council, in collaboration with. When the time came, the cabinet, the Restoration Council was calling on the cabinet and Mr. President, please pipe down for us to do things and go into elections. Mr. President said, no, he is the one, he's not a dictator. He now moved from respecting the Restoration Council to collaborate with them to come up with an electoral modality to dissolving the Restoration Council. And he told us that he got a name behind his names, doctor, like Dr. Lobati. We should be
Mm-hmm.
very, very careful with these fake doctors that they are flying all over the place, calling themselves doctors only to
Doctors.
only to vomit and go back to their vomit, pick it and eat it as if it is not filthy.
Okay. We have Honorable Ann here, so it's good. It's good we have you here, Honorable Ann, so you can. You were right at the center of this show, so I'm really glad to have you here now. We have to remember that not only did Sako just deny that he went around trying to convince our fighters on the ground to oppose the election. That's why he tried to do even with Field Marshal the King. So, Honorable Anne, it's good to have you on. Please, this is this your domain. Tell us exactly what is going on with your former secretary of the Restoration Council.
Good evening, Comrade Mike Fusi. Thank you for having me on the show. I want to greet my honorable member, Comrade Sama Thomas. I
Mhm.
want to greet all Ambazonians watching. Thank you for the resilience and for your hard work. Boya will be asked, come rain, come sun. Yeah, coming to your question, Comrade Mike, I think our former Secretary General has a problem of he's been threatened and intimidated.
Mhm.
I don't think he really has a problem. She really has a problem on her own.
Mhm.
You know, Winnie Lobati has always been a great Secretary General at the Restoration Council. She was so great when the former Secretary General resigned, and then she
Okay.
was co-opted, and she did her
Mhm.
job very well. So throughout, she had been very good. But when she joined the likes of Iringwa, who get her way through by intimidating and threatening, I think she had to succumb to threat. I believe that's why she's acting the way she's acting. But deep
Okay.
down inside, she knows that she's doing something wrong. And she's
Something wrong.
a smart woman anyway, yeah. But I think when you reach a stage where your hands are tied, only
Mhm.
you alone understand how tight your hands are. But the people outside will not understand the heat you are
Mhm.
standing on. Yeah, she alone knows where her shoes are pinching because she is really on heat. I'm telling you.
And Honorable Anne, just hold your thought there. If the technician can play us another, the last video of her, I think on ABC with Padita, now speaking another different language from what she just told us here. And then I will play you the an audio. That now that you talked about intimidation, I'll play after that. I will play an audio which can exactly punctuate the point at which Willie Lobati became something else. She metamorphosed into something else. We will play that audio so ambassadors can know exactly what we're talking about. But if we can play that video first of her speaking a different language from what we
And
just
I
finished.
think sometimes challenges and trials are a better teacher of some of the lessons that we cannot learn if we just only hear it and read it and let me put it this way. We saw what anarchy can do with what has transpired, I would say, in the last 5 months. We may think it's only 4 months, 3 months. It's really 5 months. When it started in November with spreading of legs, insulting women, and then going to this, oh no, it's this and that. That was just a tip of the iceberg of what a dictator, even in this phase of our revolution, and even living in a diaspora where you are exposed to democracy at its best, not perfect, that you could see all this happen, and we coming to a body called the legislative branch of the interim government that position itself as a legislative branch, a juror,
Emperor.
a prosecutor, and even usurping executive authority and power and ascribing it to itself. You will hear that when you hear coup d'etats happen in nations, in some of the third world nations where they shut down everything. When you start shutting the president, you can't do this. LGAs, you can't do this county. What do you have now? It's literally an empiric or supreme. Should I say? It was almost like having a military coup d'etat, but using instruments that pretend to be democratic instruments to bring a coup d'etat at a high level. And unfortunately, most of our people were ignorant of what was happening. And in their ignorance, they did not realize that allegations do not mean guilt. They did not realize that the Constitution ascribed execution powers to the
I
executive
think we've
branch
had
and not
enough
the
of the
legislative
video.
branch.
I think it's. I think we can already see. You see how she finds it very difficult to argue for whatever she's trying to say. There, she's just rambling. She's not making any sense because deep down, like you rightly said, her mind is not there. She's normally someone who likes to speak the truth. But when you are compelled now to do something which it doesn't come naturally. When she was explaining the 2 year term, she was very fluent. She was not stammering, she was not looking for words and all that stuff. But look at her now. She can't even say what she wants to. She wants to say whatever that is. We don't know, and she's just rambling. So now let me now play the audio which caused this woman to change from what she would like to be something else now. Let me play the audio.
Government chamber of Momo County. I want to say we cafe day up. Una cafe day up. Thank you so much. Thank you for standing with the heat and knowing that the truth is the only thing that will set us free. I think Momo has made a great job recalling all our members from the Restoration Council. I'm going to send a sound warning here to our own sister, Winifred Lobati. Winifred, watch out. Watch out because the world is watching you and the games you are trying to play. I have just sat in my house and I received about 5 calls from people calling me to say how they are confused, Winifred, with the actions that you are taking. Winifred, people have recalled their people from the Restoration Council. You need to stop these games right now. Winifred, I'm begging you. You will not bring the Mona syndrome disgrace into Momo County, Winifred. Ambazonians that have recalled their people are not stupid. I'm sick and tired of people calling me and say, what will happen when many people when I say we didn't behave on Mona regime? Winifred, stop this confusion. I am your own sister, but God bless you. I will go after you like you've never seen before. Mm-hmm. People have called their people from the Restoration Council, and you, Winifred, you need to let it be. Stop this confusion, Winifred. Please. You are not helping Amazonians. I think at this point you are protecting yourself and protecting Kometa. Because if you were genuine with us, I remember the last meeting, I came out and said that The coup plotter, you say, oh, no, that's not what the chairman said. And you, I'm sure you knew that's exactly what the chairman was doing. Please, Ma Winifred, if I get one more call from any other LGA in Amazonia that you are calling them to attend this so-called meeting today that our people should not be attending, I think you need to be given a vote of no confidence and be expelled out of Momo County. And you can go and stay with Cometa wherever his local government is. Please, this is confusion. I was hoping to see that you, Winifred, have tendered your resignation by now, but unfortunately you have not. And you are trying to stay here and cause confusion. I'm putting this audio here in the Momo County Forum so that every Momo child can hear and know what you are doing out there. It is a total disgrace that people have recalled their people from the Restoration Council, and you are taking the time, picking up your phone and calling them to just attend the meeting and say record. That's shameful, my friend. You need to stop these games and stop it now. You know everything Cometa is doing, but you start trying to protect Cometa. My friend, this game is not going to work hard. It's not going to work for us. More people have recalled their people, my friend, from the Restoration Council. Bamenda Pachungwa, many other LGAs, stop picking your phone and calling them and tell them to attend that meeting. You don't become a second generation of Muna. People will rebuke and bind that spirit from the next generation of Momo children. Thank you.
All right, there you hear. I think that voice is very unmistakable. I think that voice is distinct enough in this liberation struggle. We know who that to who that voice belongs. Is none other than that of Arengwa, who so you see is none other than that of Irene Kwa, and that is how she operates. Now, when you see Winnie Lobati behaving the way she's behaving now, that is exactly the reason. She was bullied, she was intimidated, she was threatened, and now she is now a shadow of what she used to be. Reverend Jenny, it's good to have you on the set with us. Timely as you may, please, can you at least say something and make a comment about this audio and Madam Winnie Lobati and what she has become as a result of this threat?
Thank you very much, Chairman, and thanks for having me here yesterday on the War Zone. Special greetings to honorables in the House, Honorable Anne and Honorable Sama Thomas. I have been very much educated by the interventions already. And special greetings to Ambazonians watching from every end of the world and sympathizers of our revolution. And a special 21 gun salute to all our fighters who are keeping the resistance and pushing out. We believe very soon the enemy will be totally flushed out from the ends of Amazonia and we can celebrate peace and liberation and then prosperity as God ordains it to be. Now, thank you for letting me talk something on the Lobati versus Lobati. There's a contradiction of the end time. I really had wished you should be able to follow us here in this program. You know, before the audio of this woman who had been the force of frustration to Sako Ekome Samuel, and who had been bent on her evil agenda to frustrate the revolution of Amazonia. You could follow, if you follow Winnie Lobati in that last audio, you know, she spoke and said circumstances. You know, in the beginning of her speech, she said circumstances can make people change, you know.
Yes,
and that is exactly yes, coming back to paint her picture. You know, if you like we follow, I'm glad that you could bring these two videos together and for Ambazonians to bring their senses, collect their senses together. Because there are some people who are still highly manipulated. I talked to somebody in one forum 2 days ago. I said it is so sad that we have come to a point where learned people have decided to close their eyes from seeing, their ears from hearing, and their minds have become very sincere but sincerely mistaken in their drive. You know, and unfortunately, the end is not long. It is catching up with many people. This is the challenge we have in this at this time. Now, when this audio that Iringwa is speaking on, it was just after the session of our decision to impeach Sako, and it was in that meeting that Bati attended against the will of the Momo cartel. And she reports to have received 5 calls already. I said, I just want to receive another one again. Then you will know another side of me, not another side of the government, not another side of the IG or the people of Amazonia, but about an individual who has taken it upon her, and has decided to reveal the people in a way you have never thought or imagined. This is demonic. And she was, Honorable Anne, who is here, can bear witness. She came to that meeting to frustrate the agenda. She thought she was smarter than this lady speaking and smarter than the other people. But
yes,
when she came, she said in the meeting, she said, we cannot go ahead to decide on these allegations on Samuel when they have not been sent into the secretariat. I have asked as a secretary that it should be sent into my secretariat. And she had insisted, I was insisting to take it back to them. I have been in forums with this lady together, with her husband and a lot of people. And I don't want to begin to say some things here. She changed drastically. It could be so dangerous that somebody called an intellectual. I see her on 2 faces. The fact that she's supposed to be intellectually honest, but she refused to or decided to change, contradict herself, and paint a demonic picture of herself. The second picture I had heard about her, and I hold with a lot of esteem to have respected till now, was the fact that she confessed to be a child of God. Unfortunately, she sees a man who has stood up with a holy criminal identity and has decided to take the people off the track of liberation and decided to follow them. I was in one of the pastors' forum, and I spoke up in the forum. They said, but what are you talking about? This is the man we must follow. As grounds, you follow without listening, without watching. They say, no, anything he says is final. And I said, no, it's not final. There's no objectivity in whatever he's saying. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then they say, you are not supposed to be here. And before I discovered, I came out of the group. But the fact was that I had to stand for this truth. That's it. So when you see this too, I would have, people can be manipulated and can fall short because circumstances. When you have people in your identity as a child of God, you come to a point where you live for it or die for it.
Of course.
Yes, I have confession in those 2 videos shows that she prefer to sustain the cartel of Momon than the people of Amazonia. Amazonians had a Momon cartel. And we should know. And those who are following this plan should know. Well, that's the leader I can say about that for now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you can clearly see the intimidation that was brought to bear on Madame Lobati. I sometimes I feel just sorry for her, and I would not want to be her in this situation where you can clearly see that she was conflicted at that point. She didn't know which way to go, and the side that pushed her, that's where she went. And of course, I think one leaned on her really hard and was threatening her of expulsion, whatever. And she just felt like, okay, maybe just to have some peace of mind, maybe I can go where I am now. And I can feel that she's not comfortable in her skin where she is. Even right now that they call themselves, whether the House of Representatives or House of Joa. By the way, what happened to the House of Joa? I don't hear it anymore. I think they may have warned them to stop using Joa, to stop linking Joa's name to that sham of a house they are mentioning there, because for quite some time now you haven't heard them refer to it as the House of Joa anymore. I would like. Honorable Senator Thomas, just make just a 30 seconds summary of what you think about it, and Honorable Anne will follow suit, and then we'll move on to something else. I just wanted ambassadors to see exactly. What
They
happened
better.
to transform Winnie Lobati to what she is today? Honorable Thomas,
Well,
please.
before that, let them call it the House of Muna.
Yes, yes, that's the most suitable
I'm
appellation.
sorry.
Yeah, in the context.
I'm sorry that someone
I
like
spoke to a lawyer before he joined this
Madame
meeting.
Lobati
That's about
could
2 minutes
be
ago.
threatened,
And
and she fell into that little trap.
we agreed that he was joining the meeting right away.
There
I
was
told
something
him
that
he would
happened to me
join.
in Mango
But he
Lobati.
seems to have a problem with
When
his
I
connection
started
with his
opposing
microphone.
Sako with his deeds, the
The
guys walk up to me
settings
that
are already
you are in a
expired.
system. I don't want to suspend. I don't want to respect the system.
Yeah, but
The very first thing
other
I
agents will
did
be
was that
on.
I
Then
resigned.
other persons don't.
I told them I was
It's
going to
not enough.
resign. For you
It's not
people
enough.
cannot
This you
dictate
have
what
written.
I'm going to say or who I will pay allegiance to. So the first thing I did was I
He should unmute himself
resigned.
and speak.
But I don't take nonsense from anybody because of protecting a position. What position am I protecting?
Anybody
So
can unmute and unmute.
Lovati did what she did because she was threatened and to be expect what position.
Yeah, we
So
were
she's
waiting
now
for
been
you and
serving
we discovered that you were
Irene
having a problem
Sako
with
and not the
your
South Cameroonian
microphone.
people.
You were not connected.
Shame.
No, I wasn't having a problem. I was waiting for the right time to.
All right, thanks. Honorable
Oh,
Anne,
okay.
your take on that, and so we can move on to something else.
Yes,
Honorable Anne, are you there?
Minister, we have in this meeting our president and our vice president.
Honorable
We
Anne.
have the team from the treasury and
You
we
gave
have
me.
some of the members.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm saying that there is a device by one of us who is in a meeting, and everybody can hear it on TV.
We will be opening this meeting.
Yes, I don't
Is
know
there
if
if
there's a meeting. Is there a meeting? Is someone hosting a meeting? If you can mute whatever second device
give
is
you the
out there.
floor to
Yeah.
quickly explain to us what you expecting from us.
Okay.
What we have to
Thank
Is that,
you.
is,
Anyway.
is that a meeting or a radio? Something. Someone should put out something.
We have a complaint that was filed in Maryland.
Oh my God, it's a meeting.
That live outside the states.
I think there is somebody who the technical team can check that as well.
If the technical team can identify where that is coming from and shut that down.
So it's our position that.
Okay.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, thank
Okay.
you, Comrade Mike. What I want to say is that there is one thing Ambazonians should know. When you hear of threats, there are threats and there are threats. That is what I'm talking about. There are different levels of threats. I remember when we met the chicken-hearted Tita president, he was threatened. I have messages he sent to me and the names of the people who started threatening him. And those type of people are dangerous because they are the same ones, Iringwa and these, who threatened Winnie Lobati. And mind you, they have access to her. But before I realized that Winnie was up to something, there were times at the Restoration Council when my department, which is the Government Affairs Committee, sorry, my committee, not department, which the Government Affairs Committee scheduled meetings, and then she will refuse to give the Zoom link. Based on the topic, I never knew why. I'll tell her, okay, this particular person is coming to confess about what the president has done or did. She would tell me, am I sure this and that? Then she would try to lure me into turning down that confession. I didn't understand. Then I didn't know where exactly she was. It came a time when Mola Edi, I remember when Mola Edi came and confessed and sent some audios and all the photos and contracts of the CDC to me. Comrade, the former treasurer at the treasury, Comrade Tana, also made his confession. How the con man used him to sponsor the book, everything, and all the monies he's been sending, and proof of the receipt that he sent. He gave money for the con man to buy a silencer for Field Marshal of Amazonia, and it was never done. Winnie reached out to me after the meeting and tried to find out what type of evidence I had. I told him, yeah, we've had such evidence, this one, and this one. Just like I am talking to another honorable member.
Yes.
So she tried to lure me into giving her the evidence. It was not right because the evidence that was given to me was supposed to remain classified until the house decides otherwise. So I told her, no, there is no way I can hand this to you. She said, no, she does not want me to hand it to her. She will just give me the email of the secretariat to forward everything to that email and just keep it there. She will give me the password of the email so that the evidence does not stay at my disposal. It should be at the disposal of the Restoration Council. It did not make any sense on me. So I thought that I just realized that she wanted to know exactly what I have so that
Yeah,
they
so,
could
so they
counteract
can mount a
and then,
defense against it. Yeah.
yes. No, but even though I suspected, I could not clearly link her to the Bitcoiners.
I am very happy with what
So
I've heard
until she now
There's
start
still,
when
there's
then
still,
she told
I
me,
think, I think there's still some noise coming from somewhere. I don't know.
Yes.
shows a
Yes.
greater position of strength.
That noise is
yeah, I
back
know.
again.
Please to hear that. I'm just going to listen.
I don't know where that's coming from.
And can the person mute, please? I don't know if Reverend Ginny is in a meeting or any of
Reverend
us
Jimmy,
in another
are you
meeting.
there?
Okay.
Can
So
you
when I
check?
realized
I
that,
don't-
yeah, the noise is gone now. So
Okay.
when she started telling me that that evidence must be notarized and legalized before it can be admitted, I should get rid of all the evidence and ask the people to do them, to write them, notarize, and bring. No, that is when I could connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
I told her that I'm not a legal mind. Even though
Yeah,
I'm married
yeah,
to a
yeah,
legal mind, I don't
yeah.
need to be a legal mind.
That's quite a lengthy story. I would not like for us to get bogged down by that, but I think we have done a good job of
Anyway, yeah.
exposing to all Ambazonians what exactly happened. She was and she has a potential of being a very honest person, but her behavior today is due to the fact that she's being intimidated, she's being bullied, she's being threatened, and she is doing it unwillingly because she feels like she doesn't have a choice. So let's
Can I
go
round
to
up
this.
something very fast if you want?
Okay, okay,
Just something.
real quick.
Another point is that before all this transpired, when they knew that the 2 year tenure of the Bitcoin was about to,
Mhm.
they quickly tried to swap the chairman of the Restoration Council. That was the agenda, the agenda of the Bitcoiners, and Winnie
Mhm.
was proposed that together with another man. Now I understand it was another the doc Comrade Richard
Okay.
who was in can take over that position. One will be the chair, and the maybe the secretary general, so that they will now act according to their dictate.
Mhm.
So somebody who was in that meeting hinted me, and I confronted Winnie directly. I said, Winnie, I hear that you were proposed the position of the chairman and you accepted. No, and you turned it down. What is going on? Why would Sako be the one calling you to tell you that you should take over from the Restoration Council?
Yes.
She said, no, Mio, no, it cannot be her. And the way she responded, she first tried to ask me, who told you that? She didn't first of all argue. She tried to lure me into revealing who said that,
Who told
as if
you?
I was a
Yeah.
child, so I didn't say it.
Mm.
Then I realized that she would, then now she's, as a last resort, she denied it. So I reached out to Chairman Commenter. I said, there is something. I have received this from somebody who is an insider and is somebody I respect. He will not lie to me.
Mhm.
And he was in
Yes.
that meeting. He told me that that is the agenda of the meeting. Winnie has turned down that position first and then proposed another man who can take it. And they have called that man and they are trying to make sure one of them takes it. Chairman Kometa then so much in Winnie, and he said, no, oh, Winnie cannot do that. Winnie can never do that. It's not that he's
Oh.
seen it. So Winnie was already acting, knowing that Chairman Kometa will get out of the way, and then their 2-year tenure will not hold. The Bitcoiners will continue to invest our money to gamble with the money that is meant for those on the ground. Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
so it has always been Sarko's intent to make sure that the Restoration Council becomes a rubber stamp institution to endorse whatever he wants. He had always wanted that, and when they finally failed doing it, that's why they went along now. They went ahead and created the so-called House of Representatives, which they have now, an empty bag with no potential. Let us go to the next topic, which is, of course, the supposed uh, rescue of Madame Mundi. I would say, is it a rescue or is it a release? Is it a rescue? Was there really a rescue, or was it rather a release? So let's just look at a few things here. Let's look at the statement that was made by Capo Daniel soon after the supposed rescue. Let's look at the statement that was made by Ayaba thereafter. Let's look at the statement by Madame Mundi herself, and then ask ourselves, what exactly happened? What exactly happened? How was Madame Mundi freed? Honorable Senator Thomas, can you take a jab at this first, please?
Well, all along, I've doubted what the ADF was going to do, was about to do, so far as Madame Mundi's arrest or kidnap was concerned. And I said, until I am proven wrong, what the ADF can do for the people I cannot trust. That notwithstanding, I also struggle in my capacity to advise them on exactly what I thought can be done to use Madame Mundi as a berth for our people that are in prison. I also made another statement saying that Madame Mundi is as guilty like any other person that is guilty for keeping the Southern Cameroon people in bondage.
Yes.
And should be dealt with. But my brothers never listened to me. Come, first, let me tell you something. My twin brother called me that I should release Madame Mundi. And I laughed and told him, my friend, you are making a mistake. Had it been Madame Mundi was in my keeping to the boys I control, like now that you are calling me to say I should release Madame Mundi, I could have been informing you that Madame Mundi is in the grave. Unfortunately, I do not know who are those that are holding Madame Mundi, so I cannot do anything. About a month ago, about a week after again, he still called me. The reason being that he struck a deal because Madame Mundi's daughter or whosoever is his friend.
Okay.
So he called me that I should ask my boys to release Madame Mundi. And I said, my friend, our mother is dead. But know that if at all our mother was still alive and is in the position of Madame Mundi, I will be the one to ask for her head. So be careful. Don't call me again. If you want to call me for something else and not Madame Mundi. His reply to me was, let me put it in this manner: God punish you. I put off the
phone. Yes, okay. Mr. Thomas, When I looked at the statement that was made by Capo Daniel, it was unlike Capo Daniel. It was very subdued. It was almost apologetic. Then when I looked at the statement that was sent out by Ayabacho, also, also very subdued. We know how bombastic Ayabacho can be. It was very subdued, almost apologetic, and always saying, let's just move on. Let's just move on. That is unlike Ayabacho. That is not the attitude of Ayabacho. I could see guilt written all over their faces when they made those statements. There was guilt all over their faces. They knew that what they had done was wrong. They had taken money. They had taken money. Anyone, whatever it is they've taken, they had taken something. And then when you look at the statement by Madam Mundi, not really telling us much about what transpired, just saying, oh, this country, there's war, there's something going on. At least she could admit that now there is war. Previously, they said there was nothing happening, but just a bunch of rascals going around causing havoc. At least you can say now that there's war. So I just want us to look at what happened through the statements of these people whom we have seen several times coming out and making statements. And now they cannot really come out and speak the way they normally speak because of what transpired yesterday. Reverend Ginny.
Comrade Fusi.
Okay.
The ADF has been discredited and by all Southern Cameroonians. This was the only opportunity for the ADF to use to come back to the limelight and to be trusted by any Southern Cameroonian, but they dashed it away. So there is no way again that the ADF can vindicate themselves from the position which they put themselves into. No amount of struggling to paint black to be white will change that black to be white again. I've fought for them. I've defended them to say, let us give a benefit of the doubt to these guys. But they've chosen to stab me from the back and make Southern Cameroonians to believe by their action. They shouldn't say Samuel Thomas said that. No, by their action, they made Southern Cameroonians to believe that they are a proxy of La Republic. Like Tapan Ivor has said, and I'm quoting him, the ADF has taken money from La Republic du Cameroon for the release or exchange of Madame Mundi. End of quote. I said it. Tapa, what do you call it? Political liar. What is in he and Pamela Capo Daniel.
Daniel, yep.
That there is ongoing action in Batibo. Boys, as he played, were in Batibo, Cameroon. But the soldiers who went to rescue Madame Mundi, none creep with it or crawl his stomach to show that a rescue mission. Madame Mundi herself was a person that was rescued. Had it been Madame Mundi was a person that was rescued, I bet you, Comrade Fusi, a soldier, if I'm keeping a captive and you are coming to rescue that captive, I will push that captive in front.
Of course, that's normally what happens. And
the story ends there. There is nothing the ADF can tell.
Yes, that is why it is always difficult for people to go trying to rescue a hostage, because you are afraid that in the event that you don't surprise the hostage takers, they will kill the hostage. But in this case, she was left alone and they ran away, according to the stories we're getting. So I'm not very surprised that the ADF has taken money. And it stems from something that happened some years back. The oil deal trip that Ayabacho took to London. When someone takes upon himself to travel to another country single-handedly without consulting anyone else to sell resources that belong to a country far away, a country he does not control, a country whose documents of ownership he does not possess. And he takes upon himself to travel there to sell oil. And you tell me that if that person is given money for the release of Madam Mundi, he would turn it down? Are you kidding me? That's Yabacho will see such money and turn it down. All the statements they were making and saying, oh, they want the release of Bank Fongaran for, they have given them 80 millions and they turned it down. They were just preparing the minds of Ambazonians of what was going to happen. So, Reverend Jenny, uh, you give me your take on this charade of the ADF here. Your audio.
Yeah.
Reverend Ginny, you are muted.
Regina is not
I
is
don't know
not
what's
is not
happening. We can't hear you.
Reverend, you are muted.
I think he's trying to.
He's
We
muted.
can't
He
we
does
can't
not
hear you.
understand.
Take care of your audio. Let Honorable Ann go ahead. You just check your audio, Reverend Jimmy. Honorable Ann, you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I will say something that is really going to keep you thinking. I don't believe that that woman was freed, and I don't believe that she was, because, in my opinion, there was no arrest or in the first place. It was just a drama. Any
Mm-hmm.
money that was given to the ADF is their monthly due that that La Republique gives to them every month.
Mm-hmm.
These are people on the payroll of La République du Cameroon. They don't need to pay them extra to release somebody. They have been on the payroll of this La République du Cameroon for years. We know that. That is why only the ADF has trucks on the ground written ADF and nobody attacks them. That is why every Amazonian fighter or commander that is strong and is inflicting pain on La Republique gets wiped out by the ADF because they are on
Mm-hmm.
the payroll of La Republique. So how do you expect La Republique to pay them to release somebody who is working together with them, all of them? So this one, you people are really falling for this prank. They were arrested in the first place. Did that woman really look like somebody who was arrested or who was suffering? It's a drama, something that was staged.
Mm-hmm.
No, there was no arrest and there was no release or freedom that took place. It was just a sketch, and most of us fell for it. But I deny I would know that. So Ayabacho is somebody, not only Ayabacho, the ADF are working with La Republic. So why should La
Yeah,
Republic pay them?
yeah,
Because La
yeah.
Republic already has a monthly amount that he gives them. So they just needed something that will make us think that or to believe the ADF, give them more access to our boys who are already aware of their dubious act, and then
Mm-hmm.
so that they can get us one after the other and eliminate us. Are you guys really going to fall for that? Hell no, you shouldn't. All advise all the restoration forces on the ground to run away from the ADF. They are
Yeah,
arresting every day. Allah will come every day. No road pass. Nobody passes from Mancon to Bafut every day. They are
yeah,
arresting every day. I have family members who pay ransom on that road from Bafut
yes,
to
yes.
Nkwen to Mancon. So and nobody is there. The camp is there. Man,
And just to
man.
add to what you're saying, Honorable Ann, let us look at the facts here. Let's look at some simple facts. In a case where someone is actually arrested and there is a fight to take that person, or there's a hostage, and there's a fight to get that person back. There are certain things that you will need to see. First, we have not seen any evidence of there being a fight anywhere. They said, according to La Republic Cameroon statement, they said there was a fight. Several terrorist soldiers were neutralized, and they got a car that was a pickup car or something that belonged to the terrorist fighters, and then they got a car that belonged to Madame Mundi. First of all, I'm asking myself, if Madame Mundi's car was taken along with her, what hostage taker takes a hostage and then takes the car of the hostage and parks it at the place where the hostage is being kept? I mean, what a foolish hostage taker does that? You are telling everyone that, see, this is where we have kept them. We have kept the woman. You park the car where the hostage is being kept. I mean, this is a very foolish stage act that the ADF has done or did. And then, secondly, there was no image of any dead fighters reported by La République du Cameroon. There was nothing like that. There is no image of no pictures of any weapons taken, right? No pictures of any
Why
weapons
are you
taken.
going that far? Why are you going that far? Even when that woman stood in front of the camera, didn't you see her trying to fake tears? Somebody who was released will not look that strong and healthy, and then trying to fake tears on the screen, and then removing
Yes.
her glasses to pretend to
I'm
Amazonians
wiping.
that they
Yeah.
were tears. I was laughing because that's the worst drama that even Nollywood can produce. That is nothing. You people fell for that. Nothing took place like that. That woman was in her house. They went and decorated a background. She went there and made that audio or video, went back to a normal, comfortable life, and waited for the day that this would take place. Everything was staged. Even when she was reading that letter from the ADF, you could read from
Yes.
her face that she knew what she was doing. So
Uh-huh.
I believe that if we can go to a better topic, that would be really good for us, because this Mundi's drama cannot even sell.
It's, it's,
Please,
we
thank
cannot
you.
help but at least to make we want to make sure that people really understand who the ADF is. We will not waste too much time on it. Reverend Jenny, please, if you are
Uh,
back. Hello. I still cannot hear you. I don't know what's happening.
Let me say something.
Reverend Jenny, just log off and log back on. I think that's the best solution. Just log off and log back on. That should take care of it. Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
Reverend, you must
While
come back
Reverend
and say
Jenny
what
does that,
Amazonians
Honorable
want. The
Sama
devil is
Thomas,
a liar.
if you want to take a dig at this, we have not seen any evidence of a fight. We have not seen any dead fighters. We have not seen any weapons seized. We have not seen the vehicle they said they took from the terrorist fighters. We have not seen that. And then there is no report from anybody in the area that is actually saw a fight between La Republic and the ADF fighters. So what do you say about that, Honorable Thomas?
Well, I do not understand what the AGF and Madam Mundi wanted to really sell to the South Cameroon people and the world at large. Only them knows what they were trying to do. For me, it's a forgotten issue. But let me say something here, Comrade Fusi. The ADF kidnapped one professor, Professor Tamunga, about 2 weeks before the saga of Baramundi took place. They kidnapped Tamunga. They went and abandoned Professor Tamunga's car at and took Professor Tamunga and the family elsewhere. So Mundi's car was where they claimed. Then I don't know what the AF is trying to tell Southern Cameroonians and the world at large. Secondly, when they kidnapped Professor Tamungang, they said Professor Tamungang was Capo Daniel said Professor Tamungang was kidnapped by the Tabuki force. I said no. It was kidnapped by your boys at Ntanka. That is where Professor Tamungang's car was hidden. He left the Mitabuki force behind, hiddenly, and accuse and whether attack the seven katas for being the who kidnapped Tamungang, of which they were the ones who kidnapped Tamungang and ended up taking 5 million francs from the family of Tamungang. That is the ADF for us. They got ignorant Southern Cameroonians and took huge sums of money from them for nothing. When they claimed they kidnapped Madame Mundi, instead of taking that money from her, like I said, even if that money comes, take. But still, never you guys made a mistake to let her go without the phone force. And all Southern Cameroonians in the Latroni dungeon being free. Never you guys made that mistake. I also advise them, if you kidnap or arrest Madame Mundi, don't waste time with her. Because you will allow boys to be, instead of taking care of themselves, defending themselves against the enemy, they will be giving their time for the protection of Madame Mundi or taking care of her, not risking their own lives. That all that risk is for what? It's a waste of resources, feeding her and risking those guys to be killed. If at all any of them was killed, then these
I
guys
know,
will
I
be
know.
ADF.
There was an uproar when you came up with that proposal, but well, we are seeing what has turned out to be the case. Because let's say this, let's be honest here. Had it been the ADF were an honest fighting force that's actually taking the fight to the enemy, we don't mind them taking the money because we know they will take the money and use it to buy the resources to prosecute the war, right? It still serves some purpose. But we know that's not what's going to happen because there is no history of them fighting against La Republique. And despite the fact that they have been asked this question time and time and time again, why can't you take the fight against La Republique? You never hear them say anything. They will never say anything about the reason, the rationale that they are not fighting against the enemy. Reverend, is your audio better now, please?
I hope
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know what was wrong. Thank you. I'd like to say I really appreciate the views of Honorable Thomas from the beginning, and I think ambassadors should come to their senses. This ADF is a very bad name to think about. We have thought in the beginning there were ambassadors defense forces, but we are coming to discover if you really take ADF well, you will discover they are Ayaba drama forces. They are not fighters because they have not proven fighting anywhere. In the beginning, they showed up to want to fight in the days of Ivo. But when Ayaba compromised, that's the first finger that pointed or that started pointing him out as a betrayer in the negotiations he did to kill Ivo. Everything turned around. They became a drama. You know, the forces on ground that are distracting, you could call them Ayaba distracting forces. It could be Ayaba destroying forces. And they are disturbing the people. When we talk about Isatangaje boys, they are there on the ground. But part of the worst of Atangaje boys, or worse than Atangaje boys and the thieves who have falsified
ADF talks. They're not fighters, they are talks.
That's the issue. So you discover that ADF have been doing a very destructive work that is disturbing the cause. And Ayabacho is bended with La Republic in every way. Tabang Ivo exposed that in his last invitation. He made it very clearly. He is in communication. They were in communication with the colonial prime minister, John Guti. And beside that, he made it clear Ayabacho spoke with Rene Sadi and with Betty Asomo in all these negotiations. Follow the other one who was a success that had become failure, Congo.
Yeah.
He confirmed what they have been doing. He's still in talking terms with them and has a connection of his network of information and spoke very clearly about. So they are, you know, my Bible makes me understand that it's a kingdom that is divided against itself. Anyone that serves the devil and organizes a team, they are teams of dishonest people that fool themselves and deceive themselves. So when you see this ADF, I think ambassadors should come to understand that they are actually dramas or Ayabacho's drama group that has been intoxicated or empowered to distract, disrupt, and frustrate the struggle. And to an extent, I will, if I were to give my own confirmation, I'll say they are Ayabacho demonized forces. And
Yep,
in,
yep, yep. That's what
beating
they are.
everybody.
I have
Yes,
actually. It's been quite some time that I completely lost hope in the ADF. A lot of people
yeah,
have continued to flirt with it. I looked at Ayabacho's temperament, and he is not leadership material. He is not leadership
yeah,
material because I've said it before. In order to be a leader, you must be someone who cares for your people. You must be compassionate to those you want to lead. When you look at the punishment, the treatment that like Ayabacho's boys are giving to our people, killing our own very soldiers, threatening to kill our top generals and field marshals, extorting from the very people you say you're fighting for. How can you then call yourself a leader? And
no,
the vindictiveness of Ayabacho, he is so
yeah,
vindictive in his
think
attitude.
about the recent case.
Uh, he
Yeah,
can he
think about,
can do whatever without even thinking about it, without a shred of emotion. That is not leadership material. And people who continue to have this illusion that Yabacho can be some kind of leader, I don't know what they're thinking. But I have said it before, and I'll say it again. You see, this attitude is like that of people who continue. You see, a girl who sees a boy during the dating period, the girl believes that this is the best guy she's got, but this guy is beating on her every day, beating on her, giving her bruises, and you, this girl, you go ahead and you take the relationship to the next step and you marry that boy. And tomorrow the boy starts really maybe gives you a black eye or does something really terrible to you. And then you begin to wonder why. You saw all the signs. You knew that was the way this guy was. You are hoping that you can change him. No, you cannot change him. That is who he is. You're dealing with him and going ahead to marry him. If he started beating you when you were dating, he will beat you after you have married him. That is what Ayabacho is. People need to understand that. So let's not belabor the point, as Honorable Anne said. I think we've had enough of this Mundi saga. People should, those who still cannot figure it out, then there's something wrong with them. Let's look at something else that's about to happen. Unbelievable but true. Yes, indeed. Sako is again organizing another fundraiser to raise money. They are planning another so-called draft, and they are calling on more gullible people to come and give them their money so they can take and do some more investments. He has collected more than $2 million. We're talking about dollars here. Well, he has collected more than $2 million, and he has done nothing with it. Maybe his rents are due, or his salary, maybe the little funds they had are running dry, so they want to organize another fundraiser so people can give him money to be paying his salary and paying his rent, because that is the biggest priority they have, paying Sako's rents and salary. Yeah, so fellow Amazonians, I want us to ask ourselves, we have seen this movie before. Even at the time when all of us were coming together and giving Sako this money, and he did nothing with it. Event after event passed, and he was not able to intervene. What difference will it make now if you go ahead and give him your money? What difference will it make? If you can waste $2 million and not do anything with it, what would a little? And first of all, you have to understand that for every $10,000 that you give Sako, 6,000 goes on him. He spends 6,000, part of it for his salary and part of it for his rent. So you are, for every 10,000, you only have 4,000 left. That is a fact. For every 10,000 that is raised, 6 of that 10,000 is spent on Sako. Is that the way Ambazonia will be liberated? Honorable Thomas, your take on this. Is that the way Ambazonia will be liberated? By raising money and spending on someone who is sitting tight here in the diaspora, doing nothing, can't even get out of his house in Maryland to go to an office of a senator or congressman in Washington, D.C. to advocate for the Amazonian cause.
Some Southern Cameroonians are terrible. That is the only description I give to this. For when when Tassan was in Nigeria, I heard that we were paying Tassan with $2,500. I said, "What? How come we are paying Tassan $2,500 in Nigeria? That is, Tassan was receiving a salary more than me in Europe. That I have a lot to pay in terms of cost. How can we pay him $2,000? So, can you, a Southern Cameroonian, be living in the West legally? You are not working. You depend on the people for the payment of your house. If that way confronted, you do not want to work because of the security. This Western world, you are there complete of security. My people have called me back home that Larbu is going to keep me here in Europe. I said they should forget. I am the one to pursue in bed where I live and not pour beer threatening my own life. So they should leave my security in my own hands and be concentrated with themselves back at home. So Southern Cameroonians that still think that they will be footing Sarko's bill instead of thinking on how to put materials into the hands of our boys in ground zero. Those people are not out in the liberation of Southern Cameroons. They made a certain society an able to help a cripple who is not a cripple by his physicalities, but they determine him to be a cripple and choose to make charitable works on that person. And I'm calling upon all Southern Cameroonians to support such a fit cripple, a physical fit person, and you choose to allow him stay in his house for it to face his bills. Only a stupid man does such things.
Thank you, Honorable Sama Thomas. Yes, Honorable Anne, yeah, it is unbelievable but true. Sarko is actually out there trying to tell people that they they deserve to be given more money. I believe you had a friend who was able to listen in on their planning meeting, and and how even amongst themselves they were disagreeing on how to proceed with it, having postponed it I think 3 times before. And they really don't know how to go ahead, and they are quarreling amongst themselves. Some saying no, maybe they should wait, and some are saying let's go ahead with it. Uh, can you shed some light in what is actually going on in this Sako camp? What is going on there?
Yeah, I'm laughing because normally we know how this drafting used to be before. They would
Yeah.
just call you at or even drafting your county without you being prepared. But I was shocked that this was the fourth time that only the launching was being postponed. The fourth time because there was no account.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying that because they are illegitimate and then the real IG took over all the accounts that belongs to the IG,
Mm-hmm.
they said because the coup plotters have hijacked the use the word hijack. So and now they are stuck with one that they've been using before. That was that of ABC, and the limit they signed they when they opened the account, the limit was 50,000. Means the account can never take altogether up to the amount of 50,000. But the launching of the draft, and since we took over all the national treasury,
Mm-hmm.
they have been managing, they have been using only that account, and before that their account had been used before. So once they draft, they will exceed the limit of that account, which was
But
50,000.
they are very optimistic. They are very optimistic there, though. They are very optimistic that they will make up to 50K. That's very bold of them. Huh?
Yeah, what I have understood about these Bitcoiners is that they are now acting like a brotherhood. It's like a sect, a secret cult
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
where money rotates amongst themselves. It's like now they will- when for example, when the draft will be launched, if 30,000 comes in, Sako will ask Frank Cheney to take out 25. Maybe Frank Cheney will take the 25 and invest in somewhere. Maybe that 25 will go round back to all of them. I don't know how it works, but we are still to prove that with the
Hmm.
upcoming OG.
Hmm.
And when Frank will explain to the Amazonians what he's been taking huge sums of money and doing with the money. So this they are let go out of topic is that they are acting like a brotherhood, and the rich man believes that there are still naive people out there who will actually pay his rent and bills. Believe me, he believes that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and
Yes.
I
Yes.
could hear that.
Yes. Yes.
I heard that there was a lot of frustration in the meeting. Everybody less. It was really interesting because they for a town hall meeting, an APP meeting that they convened without an agenda. Because
Hmm.
I asked the friend what was the agenda of the meeting. The friend said it was an APP meeting. Everybody who was called up said he did not have anything to update the house with. What does that tell you? And then the
uh,
funniest part is that only three counties could be drafted. Three. Another part that came out of that meeting is that the new national treasury they are trying to put up to go and counter us in court, to counter the legitimate national treasury in court, does not have representatives. Only 5 counties are being represented of 13. So 8 counties are still outstanding. And to show you how Comrade Sam Wicked, the Almighty Mezam, because I hear that they were calling it Almighty Mezam, is not
yes.
represented. How come you guys from Mezam did that, Nisama?
Isn't that the county of their vice president?
It is.
The county of their vice president, their barristers, their whatever.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, they're famous barrister. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
Reverend Ginny. The thing is this: when you look at these people, I don't know, like Honorable Ann said, they are acting now like a cult. We either survive together or we perish together. So it's a
I
matter of
agree.
survival now for them. It's not more about the
No, yeah,
struggle
really,
to
it's
them.
quite
It's not about the
it's
struggle. It's
clearly
now the fact that
a
okay,
case.
they have pushed us to a corner. We just have to fight to survive. That's the way it is now. What do you think?
Survival of the fittest. But
Yeah,
one thing before you come in that their group is that all of them, all of them are part of the Bitcoin of the crypto cartel. All of them have invested
that is the
in
glue
crypto.
holding them together. That's the glue. Mhm.
That is the only thing. So, but how can a whole cabinet, a whole government, with the president take the money of the gamble with, and then you see people out there who see nothing wrong.
Wrong
Where
with
did
it.
Amazonians go
Yes.
wrong?
Mhm. Yeah.
How
Yeah,
how did we come here?
it's
Yep.
so
Yep.
sad.
It is pathetic but true. It's so sad. Yes, Reverend
Yeah,
Jenny, go ahead.
I wanted to say, I had said this over and over, and I would still like to say that these guys talked about the coiners or the whatever they are now. They are helplessly bound to a certain point. I feel that Sako became a different thing. You know, this power, we say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts
Hmm.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And when somebody has tested power, and has been eating a kind of, I don't know, not even eating, but chopping from that power. He's ready and at all costs to consolidate himself at the expense of anything else to a certain point, because I will not, there is no Christian who behave the way Sako is behaving or have behaved through for the last 5 months or more. Not even talk about a pastor. To a certain point, I will let you know that this guy has soiled his hands. And I believe very strongly that the people who are surrounding him and fooling around in that club of Bitcoiners are hypnotically controlled. They are being hypnotized. They don't have their senses. And every one of them think like a big smart man. In other words, they are all coin men, coin women. And now, in all that they're trying to do is a drama. None of them will be able to contribute anything for any of them. They want to lure weak-minded, foolish Amazonians, those who are still standing on the fence, to come and still give their money, which they will take and put in their pot of concoction to want to turn their business, whatever it is. Now, but Amazonians must come to their senses to understand. About a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we have had a clarity, a confirmation, which should register on the minds of every true Amazonian patriotic, that Sako has nothing again to do with this revolution. Not even talk about leadership.
Of
He has been
course, of
fully,
course,
yes.
of course.
The evidence of the lockdown in Ground Zero was a
Yes.
clarity, a clear message beyond President Marianta, driven through to any eye that can see, any mind that can think, to know that God has chosen a vessel for a time, for a season. It could be for weeks, it could be for months, whatever. God has times and seasons that He gives people chances. And when you become foolish, He puts you aside and raises up another person. Some people have said,
Yes.
well, we don't have anybody better than Sako. What made him better? That's the simple truth. Now, and so any foolish Amazonian who wants to follow a man that is going nowhere, that has been outdated, and has no portfolio, and has no endorsement, has no grounds on Ground Zero, because anybody in the grounds or stance of leadership that has no impact or no grounds on Ground Zero is going nowhere. That's the simple truth. So wise Ambazonians should come to their senses. The first fool is not a fool. So don't become a second fool. Be a fool indeed. That's the message.
Exactly. And what I would say is this. I think even God is angry with the Sako camp for what they have done.
Very, very,
What do I
very,
say
very.
is, if you look at their Bitcoin investments, it has fallen by 50%. That means if they had put in $100,000, they only have $50,000 in there. If God is telling them that, wagging a finger at them, saying, "You stop what you are doing to my people. If you take their money and you invest in the Bitcoin, I will make you lose it." And they are losing it big time. And we don't even know when the Bitcoin will recover. Maybe it will only continue falling. So what has happened is this: those who put their money in their Bitcoin, and we're hoping that maybe the thing will increase in value and they'll cash out. They are trapped now. So they are stuck with Sako. They are now stuck with Sako. They can't get out because the thing is not increasing to a point where they can come out. You see that most of those who are still with Sako now are not there because they believe that the man is a leader anymore. They are just protecting their investment. They are hoping. But the future does not look good for them because the future, even of their Bitcoin, does not look bright. So I feel sorry for them. Honorable Sama Thomas, what do you think about these people trying to raise money again off of the backs of our people instead of having this money sent to Ground Zero? And first of all, we have had 4 years of the same thing. We have had fighter after fighter, general after general come up and say, Sako promised giving me this and failed. Sako promised giving me that and never gave it. Field Marshal, Nambere, all these people, Commando, before he died, he was complaining. All these people are complaining. And there are people out there who still think that they should consider Sako. There are very few of them now, but I don't even see why there should be any ambassador now still willing to listen to what Sako is saying. What do you have to say to this?
Comrade Fosi, Sako is a man, and he to Nigeria and pick just a con man. For if there is anybody that Sako has ever supported in this struggle, not in this struggle, but as another a destructive element, an enabler, is Nambere. Sako paid Nambere in Nigeria 1 year 120,000 francs every month. When I got wind of that thing, I asked, why was Sako giving that money to Nambere, of which boys were on ground zero, suffering there, and Sako couldn't give them a dime. But he chooses to be given Nambere for more than a year, 120 francs. Another con man, another enabler like him. Now, Southern Cameroon should listen to this. We've given our money to Sako for the past 4 years. If that money is small, it should be at least $3 million.
Yeah.
Sako invested that money into Bitcoin, or they call it whatever thing, I don't even know whatever it is, Bitcoin. When any bank is about to collapse, what happens in that bank is that the people running that bank, the managers of that bank, get into customers' money and compensate themselves with. Customers will lose their shares in that money or part of their money, but bankers never lost. They will get their salary and get their compensation in full. And that is exactly what happened to Sako and Southern. It haven't happened but to Sako, but to Southern Cameroonians. But Southern Cameroonians here are a victim of circumstance because Sako profited from it or whatever, for his share is there. Are you guys still willing to put another money into Sako's hands to go and invest in Bitcoin? If you are that person to do that, Sha, you'll be way or you'll be briefed
You
for to
have
be
only
here.
yourself to blame. Yeah, you only have yourself to blame. True, because
Yes.
anyone out there who will still want to take their money and give it to someone who, out of every $10,000, takes six for himself. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? It's not like these things are being made up. It's not made up. The facts are out there. He takes his salary and his rent, total of 6,000 a month. That is clear. So anyone who thinks that it's all a joke, give your money and see what will come out of it. So I have an audio which I played earlier when the show was not well populated. I would like to play it again. It was uh, the award that was given to the Bali Buffaloes for their performance in April, the most productive fighting force. I would like to play the audio again for Ambazonians to hear it so that Ambazonians can step up and try to support this initiative, the most productive fighting force award. Let me play the audio and then we just can get it so that Ambazonians know that when we talk about transparency, we actually mean it.
Fellow Ambazonian people, them. Fellow Bali people, them. Whether you did for whose side, for one man country, any place for the war or for the front line, or the tank or the salon, the one talk say on behalf of the Bali Buffaloes and under the instruction of the Field Marshal Grandpa, we thank the county coordinators for the award of 1 million with the given for the Buffaloes as the most productive force during the month of April. I, the Bali Restoration Force spokesman, at the talk on behalf of the Buffalo State, we don't receive them. They will I will use it judiciously for foster the war and for shorten our journey to Goya. Once again, I want to thank the county coordinators and I want to thank any other donor where if we send the hand for pocket or move something, give them, make the award can reach we. They promise to say we intend for do better. if and only if this kind of support in the middle we thank Huna very much. Goodbye. Hoping the war finish in the nearest time possible. Thank you very much, fellow Amazonians.
Okay, so yes, this this has been the audio that was sent out by the Buffaloes acknowledging that they have received the award that was sent to an audio which I played earlier that was sent to them by the countries and regions. I would like to put it that way, countries and regions. And why I decided to play it again is because the next award, the announcement of the winners of the next of the month of May, the winners of the month of May will be made next Thursday. So I want you Amazonians to tune in next Thursday to see who is going to be the winner. There was a lot of action that took place in the month of May, by the way. So we are having a tough time selecting the winner. But we will have a winner come Thursday of the award that took of the actions that took place in the month of May, and we will choose somebody to take that 1 million prize. But why I'm bringing this is to encourage all of us, all Amazonians, to chip in to support this program. You can reach out to your country or your region. In the US, we have regions. In the rest of the world, we have countries. So reach out to your coordinator in your own country or your own region to chip in your own support so that we can continue to encourage our fighters to continue fighting to liberate our homeland. We cannot allow La Republic to continue to dominate us, stealing our resources, and humiliating and killing our people, burning our villages, and doing all the atrocities we know they have been doing. So this is how we are going to fight back in every way possible through the interim government, through initiatives like this of the most productive fighting force, whatever means we have to use to take the fight to the enemy, that's what we're going to do. And we want, again, to really congratulate the Bali Buffaloes who have been exemplary. They have been very disciplined. They have been very productive. And that is exactly what we want. You hardly hear of criminal activities taking place in Bali because they are a disciplined force. That is what we want everywhere, not what the Yabachos are doing just out there for their money. So before we end the show, I would like to get your final thoughts on, you can pick a topic of your choice. I think we talked about uh, the Mundis, we talked about the Sarko's so-called draft coming up. We had no PT's action restoring order in Gokutunja. We talked about Lobati versus Lobati. So you pick your own choice, make your closing statements, and we will call it a day. I will start with uh, Honorable Samantha Thomas.
It's muted.
You're muted.
Sorry. I will
Okay.
pick on no pity in Gokitunja.
Okay.
When Sako does what he did in Gokitunja by Shao Mao and other guys that they are free marshals, I made a statement. I made a video, an audio that Sako has caused a problem in Gokutunja, of which we will see infighting in Gokutunja within a short while. I even picked my phone 2 times and called Shao Mao on him, that my friend, that guy who was appointed to whatever and your friends, he had put you into harm's way. There is a guy here in Belgium who is his handler. I called him and asked my friend, what is going on in Tunja? He pretended with me, he's my friend. He pretended with me that, I'm not in that thing with Sako, but of which he was there. So what had happened in Gobutunja has happened, but I knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a clue of it, but I knew it was going to happen, and I predicted it that it will happen. And who will be the cause? Sako.
Yeah.
Before the guy
Yeah.
in Saw died, they call him who? That Sako
It's
appointed a
it's
field marshal.
Insubu. Insubu.
Isubu, I made an audio saying that if no pity dies between a scenario of fighting Isubu and no pity,
Mm-hmm.
Sako is responsible because
Mm-hmm.
Sako is fond of causing these guys to be fighting amongst themselves. And I
Mm-hmm.
want them to say, you guys should stop this thing. Then Sako will sit and appoint you. You are field marshal. You are general this. That is to
Yes.
gain political support, and that is exactly what he has been doing. And these guys are killing themselves on the ground. What I can only tell about people on the ground, our fighters on the ground, is avoid this thing from Sako calling you field marshal. America till today from independence is only gotten two field marshals. The
Mm-hmm.
Southern Cameroon state, which is not yet a liberated state, cannot be a country of marshals, of
Field
which none
marshals. Yeah.
none
Yep.
will operate any sophisticated weapon. We should stop this thing of appointing marshals on the ground. It is very, very detrimental to our struggle. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Robert Thomas. You see, I think one of the main flaws of Sako, I don't know if it's intentional or not, is an inability to solve problems. You see that when Sako was in charge, everywhere where we had a problem, be it in Fako, be it in Mezam, be it in Jian, be it wherever, that problem was never solved. Be it in the cabinet itself, he will never solve the problem. He will go in there and pick one person, support that person, and then vilify the other person. That is what he has always done. He does not solve any problem. So that is one of the main flaws that he had as a president. Uh, Honorable Anne, your closing statements, please.
Before I go to that, I want to say, and that is one of the reasons, his inability to solve problems was one main reason we put forward that led to his impeachment.
To his
At the
impeachment,
level of
yeah.
his cabinet, at the level of the IG, at the level of his county, LGA, nothing. He cannot solve a problem. He only goes there and adds more flame to the flames, which is
Mm-hmm.
so bad of a leader. And my closing statement will be around Sako and his sham of a draft.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that so far? News I got news that everybody around DMV has isolated him. Now he has wearers surrounding him. Those are men who retired and then he resurrected them and brought them back to life. You know, the likes of Cavalier, Yeje Jibril at the
Yeah.
La Republic City, yes, Senate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Please.
So that is what Sako has surrounded himself with. Have you seen any youth going around him now? No. That's a question I was asked today by someone that he cannot even walk around freely, and that no young man will be drafting for him. Every young man will come to his senses. Listen, we are watching. Ambazonians are here watching from all over the world. Some of you are watching in Tunisia, waiting for a boat to take a deadly journey into the high sea to reach Europe, be it Spain or Italy, and then there start your journey in the wonderland, full of sufferings, sorrow, pain. But Sako is sitting in America, his legs crossed, wearing stupid 200 coat on his
Mm-hmm.
body
Mm-hmm.
when he
Mm-hmm.
cannot work. leave mansion from a basement that he was as a president of a country we are yet to have. And then he
Yes.
does not do anything to support. He wants you to stay here, pay his rent for him, give him feeding money, pay his insurance for him and his family, and then pay for his car. And then you expect him to lead you to Boya? Who will pay for those things if
Yeah.
we go to Boya? Who will do that? So only a fool will be doing that, and Amazonians are no fools.
They
Amazonians
are
are
no fools.
wise, intelligent, and brilliant and women. They know what is right from wrong. Amazonians, most of Amazonians who are not giving money to the president of Iya Marianta have one problem. They just want to see that she is doing something better than Sako. And just the game
Mhm.
on the ground has brought everybody back. A lot of people are calling, wow, wow, you were right. She is really worth it. The ground game has changed. Firepower has
Mhm.
returned to the ground. So why do you want to give money who was there for 4 years? And the only best thing he did was to turn the cabinet a Bitcoin cartel. Is that really
Mhm.
what you want to be promoting? Your money being gambled with or used to for the ground. There are people in America who have not documented, who do not have residence. They are struggling and funding this revolution, and somebody is there receiving universal credit from the that social benefit from American
Mhm.
president. That is why he has deliberately not put his name on any document, because it will backfire on him since he's already receiving aid from
Yes,
the
yes, exactly.
America.
He doesn't want to
That
show
means
it that he's earning any income, but he's lying. He doesn't understand. It will be traced back to him. The so-called lawsuit that they have
that is
filed, he
why
has just opened a
that
can
is
of
a
worms that will eat him up. Let him go. Let him go
yeah,
ahead
that
with
is
it.
a point
Yes.
somebody raised to me, that do you know that this man receives benefit from American government, and that is why
Mhm.
his name does not feature in any document signed or any requisition. How can you give somebody who has not uh, gone for audit for the past 4 years, and you want to draft again? Are we you insane?
Well,
If that
well,
even invest in, just send it to them and just help them. That would be a Tyrian act that will even long way to foster the suffering masses on the ground. Don't go and add money to give these bitcoiners a reason to begin to
to
gamble with their
continue
life.
to cause havoc because all they do is
This is
cause havoc. Yes. Mm.
exactly so why Amazonians, my brother them, my papa, I want be any of your family where it is hang around that man. I beg you, una know say una dey take una money go give am for individual. Una better take and give am family. Go show am for orphan dey for village, yeah. Una no give money for dey take the money, chop and na chop am. E dey drink, e dey chop crap for hotel, live do this, do that. Which president for inside the world go the money go play jambo with am? Una think say na president. Abeg, una wake up. See am, una buy even pad go give that woman dey waka for bush day than for send am for ye. If you get your family make money for that man, bring up in name me for village, me dey shame ye. Which kind of thief man dey for white man country, you know fit work? He dey waka
Mhm.
hang shoulder up and down. I'm a White House corner your house. He never ever go audience or go talk for president for Trump dey only for day. Go beg Trump. He never ever go. Una dey give money make say he go take una go na Maryland, or he go take una go Boya. Road for any man, I beg una. May una run that man so he no look back. Thank you. Thank una for
Oh,
coming
thank
today.
you, thank
I
you.
hope say next Thursday
I hope
una go come
Amazonians they
again.
listen for
We will
you. May
always
they
come
not give their
again.
money again. May they chop them. May they listen fine. My man, they say if you fool me the first time, the shame not on you. But if you fool me second time, that one not on me because me I supposed to don't get sense. Now the thing that when they talk, Reverend Jenny, can you
I
advise
just,
our people not to be scammed again?
yeah, I just say big amen to wait to Honorable Ann talk and Honorable Thomas already. I'd like for reiterate something on that the efforts of no pity and the buffaloes of Bali. When I follow that audio from the buffaloes of Bali, I hear they appreciate, and then at the end of the day, or their appreciation, they say we are committed. We are committed to see how we can use what has been given us to sustain the struggle, and we are trying
Exactly.
that it's
Exactly.
short-lived. Can you imagine? When I listen that, I say this is wonderful. These are guys who their hearts have been,
Hmm.
I mean, consecrated for the cause, and we want those kind of people. Now, no matter whoever wins the award, find out how you can structure yourself, empower yourself, and be more productive for success as soon as possible. It's our cry. If we are doing these things here, we are trying to educate Amazonians to be sensitized and not to be victimized anywhere. Why our
Hmm.
cry, each and every one of us, is to see that the struggle is wrapped up as soon as possible, God willing and God helping us. Now, one of the things I like to say to the actions of, to hail the actions of FM No Pity, with against Mao Mao and all that. I see somebody
Hmm.
write about that. He said, this guy he appears anywhere, anytime, and put order. Now, that's how
Yep.
soldiers are
Yep.
supposed to be.
Yep.
I've been talking to
Yep.
one of the guys who is married to an Amazonia, but passionate, sold to the cause more than some of us sold to. And he has been one of the brains behind some of this firepower in Ground Zero. Then he made a
Okay.
statement to me. He said, we should let our fighters know that they have to be soldiers and not warriors. And this is the spirit we see with these buffaloes. This is the spirit we see with this no pity. A soldier
Yes.
is somebody who is closer to the people and with the people and against the enemy at all costs,
Hmm.
who doesn't sleep when the people are not sleeping. When we hear what no pity said, they say, if you are anywhere and your relative has been caught up and locked anywhere, notify us as soon as possible. We don't want to hear any
Yes.
rubbish on this. We want all the restoration fighters of Amazonians to pick up that spirit of being soldiers and defender of their own people, their own motherland, their own homeland. That is the passion they will be able to sustain, and the people will give them whatever they need. They don't need to force people to receive anything. They don't need to harass
Hmm.
people or kidnap and take ransom. No, when you serve the people and the people know truly the difference between who you are as a soldier and a defender of their cause against the enemy who is bended to wipe them out. The people will do everything they can, even lie, and you work on them. That means they will
Yeah.
not eat
Yeah.
and sleep
Yeah.
while hungry.
Yeah.
If our boys at every from within the 13 counties become soldiers and not warriors, we see a lot of manifestation. Everybody now with war zone, we are trying to give this motivation. The danger is that everybody wants to prove like they are champions.
To,
Let
to,
me give
to
another
try
leader.
to perform. Yeah.
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 You see people make a
That
lot
is
of
that is
show.
that is exactly that was exactly the motivation behind the program, to make sure that
Yeah,
at least when you're fighting, you should know that there's somebody who is recognizing what you're doing. That is somebody
yeah,
appreciating what you're doing. And then when you take that
that's it.
trophy, you can accumulate and say, at the end of the war, we were able to have 3, 4, 5 trophies during the war. We have the records to show it. And that will go against you. And as we have said before, when this war is ended, we are going to select our military from amongst these fighters, from all the
Exactly.
different arms of the military, be it the police, the military itself, Air Force, Marines, intelligence. Depending upon your capability, you will be selected to fill those positions in the military of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
Very
But one
important.
thing that will have to be considered, one thing that will be considered is your conduct. How did you conduct yourself during the struggle? Very important. And that's something that
Yeah,
our fighters should take note of. They may think that,
yeah,
well, what they're doing now is just, no, when the war is ended, we will be selecting those who will fill the various positions in the various defense departments. And your conduct will be the primary determining factor. And then your
yes,
capability will determine in what department you will serve
yeah. So
the nation of
just to
Ambazonia. That is
just
that
to
is
wrap up,
that is how it's going to work. So those who are going around kidnapping and doing all these things, when it's time, we will go to the area where you were serving and ask the people, how did how did this fighter treat you? If the people are shouting that, oh, this is a kidnapper, this is the one who was raping our women, this is the one who was taking ransom from us, you are disqualified, and then your service would have been wasted. I want our fighters to understand that. Reverend Gina, you wanted to say one thing before we.
Yeah, I just wanted to wrap up what I was saying. Yeah. Beside the fact that everyone could be investigated at the end for award compensations and all that could be done for justice and fulfillment, the social media too is there for us and it's exposing a lot of stuff. One of the things we coach want to give our fighters is the fact that when they are setting their traps or when they have done their traps, like we have seen, and the Republic stumble into it, which we want them to stumble at every step of theirs until they are fully flushed out of our land. Now, there's a lot of display of joy, display of victory, display of which is a waste of ammunition, and yet it's a dangerous exposition. Now, once there is a trap set of a kind of our RPGs or whatever, now there is no reason for our boys to be too excited and begin to shoot here and there
and fire in the air and stuff like that. Yeah.
When they do, they are identifying where they are to the enemy. That's a simple truth. This is general information. It could be said on TV. Now, but when the enemy has no sense of where they are more in danger and they are more, you can wipe them out completely. It is, it is complete victory. If it is possible that as many as show up in your way, you wipe them out, it is not impossible. But now when they know where you are by the sound of, that's what they have been doing. Our boys are trying to copy from them because when those guys see explosive, they start shooting out of fear and helplessness. Our boys trying to shoot but they are exposing themselves. Whereas if they are quiet, they will strategically begin to wipe out whatever. And you will discover that none of those boys who are foolish enough from the Republic wasting of their life at the expense of serving a wicked demonic master, at the expense of their own very lives and people and their future, they will not risk anymore. Some of them will begin to resign for their lives and quit than going into a land where you go and you don't come back, or you are carried out in bags. So it's a caution, and we hope that we will have a lot of time to speak some of these things, which will remain a caution and a blessing to us all and our defenders of the land. God bless Ambassador, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Reverend Ginny. Thank you, Honorable Anne. Thank you, Honorable Sama Thomas. I'm really delighted to have had you on the set with me today. Let's continue to work together to free Ambazonia. Fellow Ambazonians, I want to thank you for hanging on with us and for staying with us throughout this program. I hope we were able to give you something to take home, something useful. The show is about ending, but before the show ends, I have my final thoughts. I always tell you that the segment of this show will be the final thoughts, not long, just my own thoughts, something to take home for the day. And these are my final thoughts. We always have this false notion that people who have demonstrated a repetitious habit of doing bad things will change. It is this false notion which allows a girl to go ahead and marry a boy who was beating her even when they were just dating because she thought this man will one day change. No, he won't, because that is who he is. That is who he is. He will not change. It is this same attitude that will allow for someone like Paul Biya to be in power for 4 decades, because people continuously think that maybe he will change this year, maybe he will change next year, and you continue giving that person a chance for over and over and over, but you realize that person is who he is. He's not going to change. It is for this same reason that Frundi was allowed to be the chairman of the SDF or of the SDF for 30 years. For 30 years, Frundi, chairman. because people continue to hope and believing that something good was going to come out of it, but nothing good came out of it. See where Frundi has taken us. Frundi is now hiding behind Paul Biya's pants, eating from Paul Biya's open palm. He has completely sold the same people who defended and died for him. It is for this same reason that some people, however few they may be, are still following Sako today. There are people who still follow Sako, who still think that maybe there's still something good in him, despite the fact that they have seen an abundance of evidence to the contrary, that Sako is not the leader we thought he was. For this reason, for this same reason, there are people who still believe that there is something good that can come from Ayabacho. Some of us think that there's something good that Ayabacho can give us. No, no, no. What you see is what you get. What you see from Ayabacho is what you get. That is who he is. He's not going to change tomorrow. Ayabacho was like that 3-4 years ago, always wanting to be the only one, always wanting to do things his way, trying to sell our resources in London. Today, he's taking money from La Republique and deceiving us that he's fighting a war. Ayabacho will never change because that is who he is. He cares about himself and himself only, and no one else. He doesn't even care about those he calls his fighters. Those same boys he is deceiving on the ground. Whatever money they say he has taken from La Republique, you go and see how much you give to those boys. Those boys will still be running around and we still have to harass our citizens for survival because whatever Ayabacho has taken, he's going to spend it on himself and his few friends. He doesn't even care about these boys. He doesn't. Talk less of our citizens who are molested, extorted, and even killed by his thugs, kidnappers, and ransom takers. Did I mention that he is also vindictive? He's very vindictive. A man who will order for another soldier to be buried alive. That is who Ayabacho is. That is who Ayabacho is. You deal with him at your own peril. Thank you very much, fellow Amazonians, for being with us today. And again, I look forward to being with you next week, Thursday, when we come on with the award show. The award show, the red carpet will be out for the next winner of the 1 million trophy prize on Thursday. I look forward to seeing you all. And I always like to say this: take care of each other. Take care of yourselves and each other. Again, it's been Mike Fusey, your humble host. Good night.